it's Jennifer back again today with the tutorial video for this fantastic card, Orange and Teal Dreamcatcher. I'm calling this Never Stop Dreaming, and it features stamps and die cuts from W+9. And I'm going to begin this card by using my Revolution tabletop die cutter to cut out all of the die cut pieces that I need. And just using that Neenah Solar White in 80 pounds. And now this particular die cutter is no longer available, but it's got a magnetic platform, and so I love it for these smaller projects where you need to go back and forth a whole bunch. It does just cut the thin dies. So I'm doing 6 feathers and then 3. This is the little beaded attachment that connects the feathers to the hoop of the Dreamcatcher, and just using up every square piece of cardstock that I can for this one. And this is the last of the little beaded connectors. And then I'm going to cut the hoop out, again, same white cardstock. I also cut out a circle, which I didn't record for some reason, but just a regular circle. So I'm going to take my 6 feathers, and I am using Glimmer Mist in Apricot, Jolee, and Gold, and a little bit of Oriental Poppy, and then also Sunshine Dylusians spray. And these all worked fantastic together. Just love how they turned out. And so once I get that initial coat, I'm not super worried about getting everything completely covered, because I'm going to just come back in. I'm using my tweezers and then my finger just to pick them up and kind of use that extra overspray that is on my craft mat. I really should have cut a few more out, so just do that with those. And then I'm going to set those aside to dry. You can certainly use your heat gun if you want to dry these, but they're so small. I just set them aside and they dried really quickly. And then next I'm going to work on the outer hoop, and for this, again, I'm using the Tattered Angel Glimmer Mist in Bahama Blue and Patina. And then just flipping that over to pick up the extra. And then on the strands for the center of my die cut, I just used Pearl Glimmer Mist. So I'm going to take some Ripe Persimmon Distress ink here and stamp. The coordinating stamp set for this has teeny tiny little beads. So I'm going to stamp the orange bead in the center, put my head in the camera just for you guys, on each of the center of those. And the nice part with the clear acrylic stamps is I can absolutely see where I'm stamping. I clearly need to get a little close. And then I'm going to use some of the Peacock Feathers Distress ink to stamp the teal bead on below the orange bead there. And these were a little harder for me. I could have used my Misty, but I have a problem-solving technique I do a little bit later that I'll show you with these. Just honestly use my distress marker to color them in, which worked just as well. I'm going to get those. Also color the top connector piece so you can see there. And then you can see my bottom bead is not exactly lined up, so I just went ahead and colored those. And then I'm going to use the center piece of the feathers and Ripe Persimmon and just stamp those right down the middle. And I did that on all the feathers. And then I'm going to come in with a little bit of Salty Ocean. This is that white circle that I cut out just using my Spellbinder's Nestabilities. And it should just fill the center, because I knew I was going to do the stenciling on the background. And then I'm just going to darken up my hoop with a little bit more of that Peacock Feathers. then I'm just going to use my Zig two-way glue pen to adhere the center portion of the dream catcher, and then my block there as a weight. And then now I'm going to go ahead and switch over and work on the background. This is a stencil from Mr. Huey, and it is called the V pattern. And I am just using scattered straw, fossilized amber, ripe persimmon, and spiced marmalade distressings along with that ink blending tool. I'm just going to kind of work out keeping the yellows a little bit to the center, and then you'll see in a moment I'm going to add the orange shades a little bit to the outer and kind of in a blotchy pattern. And that was the scattered straw, and then switching to the darker. I had a little trouble keeping this stencil down, so you see I've got kind of my hand all over it just to hold it in place. I really liked this simple, easy shape, and it worked great once I figured I just kind of needed to hold it in place a little bit more, and doing a little more pouncing than kind of circular motions, which you would normally do on a stencil. And then coming in with my oranges now, and again that's the ripe persimmon and spiced marmalade. And you can kind of see how that's a little blotchy. That's exactly what I was looking for. I didn't want a solid graduated blend, kind of a little different look than what I normally do. All right, now coming back to our dream catcher, and all of my pieces are dry, so I'm going to attach the front piece of my dream catcher to that light blue background. Again with the Zig two-way glue pen. And again, once I have that glued, trimmed off a little bit of excess and set it under one of my acrylic blocks just to keep that weight on it. And then now I'm going to just ink up a background sheet of paper, starting with that Salty Ocean, and then I'll move into the Peacock Feathers Distress ink, just going around the edges, and this will kind of coordinate with the hoop on my dream catcher. I do this a lot. I really like the ability to kind of create a custom or perfectly coordinating color from the stamps that you use in your product or project. And then at this point I decided, you know what, I wanted those chevrons to go all the way down the front. So I just came back with that stencil, relined it up as best as I could, and then just repeated that same inking technique, the scattered straw, fossilized amber, and then our two oranges. All right, now I've got that whole chevron all the way down the front. And I'm going to adhere that to my backing panel. And you can see how a little mist go on the back of the paper there. Just applying my adhesive. And then going to put my dream catcher on. And then using my handy dandy toothpick and paper adhesive, along with a set of these, I think are probably considered to be more forceps than tweezers. And I decided also at this point to add just a little bit of the ripe persimmon around the edges, just to give a little bit more definition and darkness around the edges. Again, more ink on our feathers, and just continuing to assemble the card. There's something about the turquoise and the orange that it makes me so happy. I love these two colors together. I think they turned out fantastic. And just in general, I really like this color combination. And if you don't have the W+9 set, this is something you can certainly, have seen quite a few Dreamcatcher sets out there, or if you own a silhouette, you can absolutely create something similar. So I'm just going to use my Misty to add my sentiment. This is also from the same coordinating set. And then you know me, can't leave it alone without a little bit of Stickles. I am using Stickles in Orange Peel here, Peacock, which is one of my favorite colors of Stickles, and then also Diamond. So I've just added a few little dots onto my feathers there in the orange, and I'll do the same thing with the Diamond color. Because you knew I wasn't going to leave this without a little bit of glitter. And I just go back over the strands there. Again, this is the Diamond Stickles. I think the hardest part of doing Stickles is not squishing your hand in the wet and ruining your whole card. So something I have definitely done, and I'm better at not messing it up now. Since I kind of want to rest my hand for a little added control, have to make sure I'm not sticking my hand in wet Stickles. And this is that Peacock around the hoop. And more of the diamond on the connectors. And then my last step was just to add a few adhesive rhinestones. I'm using my quick stick there. This is a fantastic tool for picking those up. And that's it, guys. This card was so much fun. I just love the way the colors came together. So thank you so much for stopping by today and watching the video. Have a great week.